Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. So, how are we doing this week? I got to thank you. I have a special thank you to you all because today is going to be 100% viewer comment material. I have nothing of my own today, so granted, you guys had so much stuff that didn't really hunt, didn't have to hunt, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, let's see who's in today. Heart's Truth, David Kent, Preliminal, Shari, of course. I'm kind of reading what you said as I'm going along. That's why it's taking me a little bit. Yeah, so that thumbnail, what is it? Do you guys recognize what that thumbnail is? All right. I think that's it then. Life Matrix is in. Mars so close to the moon. You know, I did not look outside today, so I don't know what's going on. Was an event some random guy came up to me and pointed it out, said in all his life he never saw a star planet so close to the moon. Okay, so I think last year ish I was saying that that place I used to work at, I'd walk and it would be like right towards where the moon was going at around the time I'd leave work. And I did notice that last year I was seeing like a big star really close to the moon, like a really bright one. And maybe it was Mars, I'm not sure. Yeah, it wasn't really reddish, so it was just really bright. And I thought it was weird because we've been seeing those showing up in flags more and more and more, like that big star. And I had never seen that before. I don't know why it seemed weirdly very significant to see that. So I actually kind of regret that I didn't run out and look at the moon and see what it looks like today. Apparently, people in Canada could see the Mars disappearing behind the moon. Ah, interesting. Okay, Shari's got a link, so I'll go back to that in a second. I think I see Venus close to the moon once, but yeah, it was trippy. Angels Don't Fall is in. Trolley Troll. Joe Blor's in. Do not recognize the thumbnail. So I'll give you a hint. It's a nebula. A few of ours you've already guessed. Have you ever? So you should have seen this nebula before. It's a pretty well-known one. The thing that gets me is I have never seen this image before of this nebula, and I should have. All right, let's see what Shari's link leads me to. You know, it's interesting because I click on the links now and I'm not getting that obnoxious studio stuck in the link that was screwing up the links for me before that I would have to delete. You can watch Mars disappear behind the full moon tonight. How long the event lasts depends on where you are in Canada. Well, can we see it here? If you have clear skies on Wednesday night, you'll be able to catch a planet disappearing behind the moon. Okay, so if you guys already saw it, maybe it already happened. The event occurs at a special time for Mars. I've never even heard of this, actually. Mars will be direct opposite Sun, position in the sky, rising as the sun sets and setting as the sun rises. This is called an opposition, is when Mars is at its brightest in the night sky. Okay, it would be, I guess, the brightest because what? The sun is opposite? Okay, so the sun is not competing brightness-wise because the moon, I don't see how actually it would look brightest because the sky is darkest. I'm guessing that's what they mean. Having the moon hide a bright planet is rare. Having it do so on the very night a planet is at its brightest, as Mars now is very unusual. Well, there's something unusual happening every 5 minutes anymore, so The occultation of Mars by our moon requires just right alignment. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so it should be totally visible in most of the United States, including here. Probably already happened, though, I have a feeling. Mars will only cross a small fraction in Toronto, blah, blah. Okay, this is not... So it happened earlier, basically. We're at midnight now. The red giant lies near one of the most beautiful open star clusters in the northern sky. Hyades? Have you ever heard of that? Hyades? I don't know. I'm not so into that, but I've never heard that word before. Hyades. Yeah, so you know what? I didn't hear of it. I missed it. I didn't know about it. I would guess that Mars will come out the other side later, so maybe I can go and peek at it after the show. I couldn't even see the moon last night, let alone Mars disappearing behind it. So it sounds like it happened like a couple of hours ago. Wherever you are. I mean, I know, Shar, you're pretty far away, so... Named moons are mostly new to me, says Tommy L. Yes. It started before the pandemic, so not new, but definitely Mandela new. Joe Bloor, the channelings of the Quo entities by the same folks that channeled Ra in the Book of Law of One, a huge Mandela for me. Okay, I've never heard of any of that. The channeled Ra stuff I only heard about a little before the pandemic. Okay, so what's that thing in that nebula is, as some of you have guessed. Let me get rid of this one. I don't need advertising bogging on the computer. It is the Horsehead Nebula. And so the person who brought this one to me was Biker Babe 2009. Biker Babe 2009. And the thing with me is it was called the Horsehead Nebula. I remember it being like really big and colorful, but not really screaming horsehead. So like when I looked at it, I didn't really see a horse head. I don't have a propensity for making shapes out of kind of, I don't have that pareidolia thing where something is vague and I go, oh, I see a face and I see a horse, and I'm not really, I don't have, once somebody points it out, I can, oh yeah, now I see it. But I didn't do that. So maybe that's part of it. But a lot of you are talking like it used to be like really horse heady. So I'm not sure if I come from the same timeline as you. But now it looks, I don't know what it looks like, but I've never seen it look like this before. I just remember like way more. Let's see if we can get to it. There we go. Just a lot of color and shape, and now it's just like this dark blobby thing with a lot of red, and I have never seen this nebula anything like this before. So it's pretty interesting that a lot of you seem to be having a degradation of the horse shape. For me, this is more of a horse shape than I think I've ever seen, because it is a horse shape. Yet all the colors and stuff look gone for me, so I'm kind of confused. To me, this is just a whole new weird looking thing I've never seen before. It doesn't look anything like I remember, not at all. and it looks kind of weird and plain. I don't remember this white. I don't remember any of this stuff. Um, and now there's just this black ink stain smear thing, and it doesn't look like horse either. Definitely agree with you there. I mean, if somebody didn't say, "Oh, that's a horsehead nebula," I would not think horse. I don't know what I would think, but that isn't it. So it's a Mandela for everybody, but a different kind of one apparently. Trolley Troll says, I don't know, the nebula stuff is new to me too. Honestly, I always wonder, are they genuine photographs or are they CGI fakes? Definitely the question of the hour. My hair is sticking out in the image there. I don't know. I mean, what is fake? Is reality the whole thing fake? Then you can't. CGI fakes would be a fake of the fakes. How fake can you get? I don't know. Maybe it's all just a a movie, and whether they are fakes or not is depends on whether the designers write that into the script. So it gets tricky. Trolley troll. I do not recognize the thumbnail. Did you guys know that tonight is apparently the cold moon, full moon of the year? The cold moon, full moon. Cold. I assume because it's cold out, but still, yeah. No, I've never heard of the cold moon, full moon. You know, it seems like the last few weeks I've had one person on where I'm like, yes, the same. I agree. Yes, and it might be Trolley Troll today that is going to get the yes, I agree, yes, I agree, yes, I agree. The horse head in that nebula was huge and looked like a real horse. Okay, I do remember like a huge bunch of colorful patterns, but I don't really remember anything like punching me in the face as horse looking. I do remember a lot more color though. I don't remember any white. Doesn't feel like whoops, it's this side. Fix my hair. I don't know, lately my hair, it just will not be even. The nebula stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got you already. Couldn't even see the full moon last night. Oop. Okay, I'm behind the 8 ball here on these. Black ink stain looks like Nessie. I don't remember. Yes, okay, well, we agree it was big and colorful, so there's that. I wanted to say your hair looks really nice. Did you dye it? Not recently. It was like three weeks maybe ago that I dyed it. It does make it shinier, but yeah, it's been a while. So there's been at least a couple episodes since then. Yeah, it's kind of a funny story how I picked red, but basically I was lightening my hair once and the tone had a whole bunch of red in it, so it looked really red when it had the lighter in it. And I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I like that color way better than the light color. So the next time I went out, I just bought red dye instead of lightener, and it was that way for a really long time. And then I got to a point where the hair wouldn't hold the color, and I think that was the start of me getting less healthy. Lately, it's been holding the color better, so I went back to red in recent years. I'm trollery troll and trawler troll now too. I don't know, trolleys like, like the the electric trolleys that are in this timeline sounds a little better, but sometimes I want to say it's trolley troll, which sounds a lot worse. Yeah, so Shari remembers it big and colorful. I do remember it like that. No black ink stain at all. I don't think it has enough similarity to call it horsehead now. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's more of a horsehead than anything else other than an ink stain, but yeah, it's definitely more of a stretch. Has anybody heard of red velvet ant? I think that has been on. When I say artificial or fake, I mean digital and man-made. So I don't know, when I say it's fake, I don't necessarily think it's digital. In fact, I think it's kind of unlikely that there's like some kind of computer or mainframe or anything, but fake in like not nearly solid and real as stable as we think. Man-made and maybe our own subconscious somehow programming it, something like that. Like computer analogy would be like an analogy. I'm not actually saying that I think it's a computer. I feel like the computers themselves, our computers, are more of a fake space than anything. Probably. Can't swear at anything. Keratin treatments for hair. I have not heard of those. I'm going to have to check into that. So, the hair, it's not bad. It just, it's just, it used to, I think part of it is none of the stylists are very careful anymore. So she used to spend so much time making sure it's even. Now it's a little off. And then one side has more natural curl than the other lately. And it's just such a mess. Dragon tail butterfly. Ooh, I think I did see that recently. And I think it's been on, but it's just getting more extreme. Uh-oh. Did I freeze? No, I'm not. I'm going to fix that. Oh, here. Not frozen. Turn off that. I have no idea if I'm frozen right now. Try going back. Okay, so that link did get the, it looks like it did get the weird studio in there. So some links develop the word studio and some don't. All right, so I'm starting to get this now. So I need to delete the studio. Maybe it's just YouTube links that do that. Yeah, that could be it. YouTube links are the problem because the last one was not a YouTube link. Yeah, I think we've had these on. They're just getting more extreme. I saw something really wild with hummingbirds too, with this huge long... Oh, okay, yes, these have been on. These have been on. I'll show them again and for people who haven't seen it. Okay. I don't want sound. I don't want too long a clip. Yes, I'm very picky. Okay, here we go. Yes, okay, those have been on. Actually, they do look pretty much the same as I remember them. I'm thinking of another butterfly I saw with like this huge long tails, and also I've been seeing a lot of the hummingbirds coming with just ridiculous long dangly things that just, there were no hummingbirds like that. I don't know, everything flies better now, I guess, in the current timeline, so you can have all that dangly crap and still somehow fly effectively. We're seeing the bigger birds now. I don't think those things could have got off the ground in the old days. Yeah, one of the reasons I was worried is right when I clicked away, it looked like I was frozen on there, but I think maybe just because I clicked away. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin now has a tiny Three Musketeers stash? You know, Trolley, I looked at that. I'll try again. I could not really, it was almost like a hint of one. Let's see. That dragonfly is blowing Trolley trolls brain. I'm not going to say the mean thing you said about yourself, though. I am trying to get away from, well, most negative talk, self-talk. I just don't think it's a good idea to insult yourself in your own mind regularly. Not that I always succeed in not doing that, but... So I don't want to insult myself in my old mind, so I don't want to insult you in my words or mine either. Okay, so I did see this. I'm not sure. I think it was by you that you saw like a weird mustache thing. So to me, it's like when I look, there's like this weird shadow. All right, this one shows it pretty good. Like there's an almost mustache. Like I don't understand. It doesn't really look like a mustache exactly. I don't know if it's clear enough in here. There's some kind of shadow going out like that. It doesn't look like a mustache, but I don't know what the heck else it is. So I didn't want to say it was a stash, yet I don't want to say it's not. Is it like weird wrinkles and a stash combined, maybe? Now that I'm looking at it again. It's fishy though. Okay, so there is kind of like, it could be like a 5 o'clock shadow thing going on here. But then there's this wrinkle out here that combines with it. Is it just a giant coincidence? Is he got a stash in another timeline and like molecules of it are showing up over here? I don't know. I didn't feel like it was quite, at least with my eyes coming from my timeline, it didn't seem quite clear enough that I was quite ready to have it as an official part of the show. Come on, get over there. But I do think it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. All right, there it looks more like a weird wrinkle. That's a really strange place for a wrinkle, though. So there's the wrinkle. See how much we can expand this. So there's like a wrinkle here. And then there's, you don't really see it so much here, but there looks like there's something there. So I don't know if he's going to grow the world's weirdest pencil thin mustache in some timeline or what. But so one thing I've kind of noticed is sometimes when I'm looking at something and I may not see it as clear as somebody else sees it, and then 3 weeks later I'll look at it again and then I will see it much more clear. Like I am like the slowest one to get in the timeline or something. Or they were fastest low-end chafing kit. I don't know. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm all for being humble. I agree, but, and I don't mean to pick on you because I do this. Everybody, it's like a habit. I think might be not a good idea to have is one thing to say, okay, sometimes I'm wrong or I don't know anything about something or I misremember or any of those things is fine. But when you actually say I'm stupid, you know, or I think it's probably a bad idea. I do think I'm beginning to believe more and more that we program our own reality and by what we say and what we think and what we feel. And so certain things are a lot easier to maybe alter about our behavior. And one would be unfairly putting yourself down. And I know it seems like such a silly little thing. And I get a lot of pushback for being picky and overly obsessive about it sometimes, but from certain people who are like, yeah. But I don't know. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking to my story. So try to be, you know, try to be kind to yourself like you would to another, and be kind to another at least as good as you would be to yourself. That is not to say that you would deny your own shortcomings, but just portray them fairly is all I'm saying. Words are powerful. They are spells. Yes, Shari, Something like that. Or, call it spells, but if that bothers you, call it self-programming, self-talk, a form of hypnosis, perhaps. So when you think about it, okay, think about if you grew up and your mother always told you sucked, you suck, you're not smart, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. If she said that, how much damage would that do? So then what if you internalize that and then repeat it for the rest of your life? How much more damage would that do? And how much repair to that damage could you do if you stopped doing that and started being more fair to yourself? Just something to think about, that's all. But maybe one of the easier things to change. I think one of the lessons I've really gotten for myself lately is that if you're unfair to yourself, it's easier to be unfair to others. If you give yourself that kindness, it's easier to spread it too. Because thoughts do matter, even if you think they don't spread outside from your mind. I think they do. In behavior, frequency, whatever you want to, whatever, all of the above. Yeah, and like I said, I apologize if it sounded like I was picky with you. It's really something I'm trying to remind myself to do more as well. So I certainly am very guilty of what you just did, as very much. So I think it kind of triggered me a little because it's just something I've been kind of working more on and realized more on just recently myself. So yeah, I mean, do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. And like I said, I do apologize for picking on you because I didn't mean to. It just suddenly you triggered that idea in my mind. So I apologize. I'm sure we all do it at least sometimes. Okay, so where are we? All right, this one was a bizarre one. Okay, I'm just trying to find out who did this one. This this word bas relief, Basrelief. Now I kind of gave it away if you really read that, but how do you pronounce it? Is it bas relief, bas relief? The first word bas, is it bas relief or bas relief? Ba like sounds like bah, or sounds like bas. So this is an interesting one for me because I've only heard one version of this before, and so I was actually like, Mickey Bishop came up with this one, commenter on the channel, and I was like, are you joking? Did you mistype? Is that like a fat finger mistake where you punched the wrong key on the computer and then you accidentally hit send? Speaking of words, how do you pronounce that word? Bas relief or bas relief? Oh, she does it to me too. What did I do to you? Let's see. Oh, yes, Dark Wolf. Yes, I do pick on you a lot because you're fun to pick on. But yes, actually, Dark Wolf is one of the people who are like, yeah. Well, I don't want to say it like that, but he was sort of like picking on me for being picky, let's just say. Ba. So, okay, Jennifer Silvez means ba. General Sorrow says bass. Hello from Florida, full moon with cherry on top. Are you talking about Mars? Yeah, I just learned about that. It's French, means ba. It's one S, so ba probably. So it doesn't sound like bit of venom is sure. Eliza Pow means bass. So I could only tell you how it's always been pronounced in America for my whole life. Yeah, so we get foreign words, but we in America have our style of pronouncing, and it is not always the same as where it came from. There's many examples around San Diego of mangled Spanish and French place names. Sorry, never heard of it. Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of a word you wouldn't really need to know to speak English, certainly. But those of us who follow a lot of the well, if it's your first language, that does help. And if you follow a lot of the kind of ancient archaeology stuff, you've probably heard of it. So here's the thing, though. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos. Archaeologists put on a lot of these videos, and I've never heard it. I have just never, ever, ever heard this version, which is bas relief. I have never heard of that ever. I'd probably be like, what the hell is a bas relief? Apparently, that is the primary pronunciation is bas relief. So if everybody always mangled it wrong, I should have. Bas relief should be the right way. So bas relief, bas relief, whatever you want to call it, it's basically like when there's a slightly carved thing, like it kind of pops out a little, like on a coin. They would call that bas relief. Like it's kind of flat, but it's kind of just the edges and a little bit. There's no other word for bas relief besides bas relief. Okay, let's see. How do they call it? The raised edges images. They are all bas reliefs. Raised edges images. Yeah, like it's flat but a little bit raised edge. Raised work during the earlier we borrowed the synonymous basso relievo from Italian. Okay, so it's Italian, it's basso relievo. The French and Italian terms have common ancestors. In fact, the French word is likely a translation of the Italian, but English speakers apparently borrowed the two independently. Bas relief is more present. I mean, bas relief is more, well, I don't know. It's something is more prevalent in English, although the Italian derived term has not disappeared. I don't know it, but it giving bas relief as the first. So I've just never heard of. So it can come from French or Italian now, and can be bas relief or bas relief. I have never effing heard of bas relief. So if you're saying it came from, so they're basically saying that this story is that Americans stole it from both French and Italians at once. And so we have two versions. That just doesn't sound right to me at all. And this is interesting because this storyline flies in the face of what people on here are saying. Some have only heard bas, and some are saying, no, it's supposed to be ba, but we're all mangling it. But this storyline is saying it could be either because we stole it from two places at once. It's a low relief sculpture. Okay, it's kind of like a flat sculpture that just raised a bit. That's a good way to say it. Jennifer Silva says that she learned the snotty way, but the really snotty way is, I guess, currently, and maybe it wasn't when you learned it, this other, that it could be either. Shari, English is my third language. Yeah, as I could say, it's kind of one of those little terms that you even some English speakers don't know. Let's just put it that way. And probably a lot more English speakers don't know about it if you weren't like on my kind of channel, because a lot of us are kind of into some of the archeology and more strange stuff, so we would hear that word. But like the average person at a football tailgate may not have any idea what that word means. So yeah, this kind of, so these ironically these are kind of a Mandela for me if these are these weird Egyptian things, but these are slightly raised out of the flat carving thing. So yeah, most Egyptian carving that is on the flat wall, that would be bas relief, bas relief. I can still say bas relief, so I'm sticking with it. Missing you and Heather and JoJo's in the back room. Okay, I'm not sure who Boiling Frogs is, but yeah, the back room, it's a chat where we sometimes hang out. I've been there, not every day, but pickleball, pickleball relief. No, pickleball tournament was on some sports TV channel. Yes, I know. It's getting crazy popular. Tennis and ping pong have a love child. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pickleball. Tennis plus ping pong. Oh, on a badminton court. Tennis plus ping pong on a badminton court. They were over at Badminton's house. Okay, I'm getting kind of silly. I'm sorry. Archaeologists and art historians are going to say ba. Anyone not in the field will say bath. Yeah, I know that sounds good on paper, but yet many of these shows were done by archaeologists. So, I don't know. Like, what's that guy who travels around the world? Josh Gates. He's supposed to be an archaeologist, but I never heard him say bas relief before. He's supposed to have a degree in archaeology, so they say. Yeah, Shari, she's pretty impressive, and she is able to chime in a lot on stuff going on in other parts of the world too, because she's well traveled. So that's also a nice addition. A lot of people that have been to the places she has been are not good English speakers on here letting us know. So, we get a lot of Americans, Britons, people countries who already speak English. I said hello to you in the back room long ago. Okay, could be. Yeah, sorry if they're just in there like once in a blue moon or a cold moon as it is tonight, then my memory's not that good. Okay. So, I'm just thinking this might be a timeline thing where certain people had bas relief, certain people had bas relief. Suddenly, we're squishing those timelines together. So, for some people, it's supposed to be this way. For some people, it's supposed to be that way. English has a sentence structure that is inverse of both German and French. Not as bad as Japanese. So, we're still subject, verb, object. You guys are subject, verb, object. At least French is. I'm not really sure on German, but I think it is. But we have the adjectives you have the adjectives at the end of the noun. We usually have them in the front. There's conjugations aren't wildly similar because they're all Latin languages. You want to get crazy, then look into Japanese, because that one goes subject, object, verb. So you sound more like Yoda or something. Like instead of this is cool, you'll say this cool is. And it's very easy to forget the verb at the end because once I get to the object, I feel like I'm done. I think, oh yeah, there needs to be a verb. I've just dabbled a tiny bit in Japanese, so I don't know a lot. I just know it is hard because of how it is different from English. They don't have the conjugations. There's definitely some neat stuff about it, though. Some easier stuff because they don't have the conjugations. Yeah, yeah. French goes subject, verb, object, and I'm pretty sure that German does. Go to the Farmer's Almanac for tea on all the moons. Yeah, cold moon, red moon, whatever moon. I feel like they make up new ones, or like us. New ones show up every year. Cold moon, this is definitely the first time I've heard of a cold moon. A lot of the French adjectives go in the front of the noun. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Now that you say it, I think I'm thinking more of Spanish. A lot of them go behind, and that was the one I studied the most. And then I studied French the second most, and then Japanese the least, and Mandarin a tiny, tiny bit too. French is the original Spanglish. So sometimes, like French and Spanish, a lot of times if you took Spanish, you can figure out a lot of French and the reverse. Because French will often sound either like English or like Spanish, enough for you to kind of figure it out. Now they're naming the new moons. No, I don't know about the new moons. They're naming the new moons. So the question then is like, are they going to be start to be prophetic? Like, if they name it the red moon, is it going to start being red? Um, you know, and I have a feeling it might be so somewhere down the line. Okay, so we got bas relief. So that was Mickey Bishop. Very much thank you. Now, all right, I was going on this one. All right, so I've kind of covered those giant methane holes in Siberia that we hear about in the news, and I was looking at them. And I'm like, how come there's no snow there? Because when I first saw those, it was always shown in snow, and Siberia used to be the frozen tundra. Okay, and when they meant tundra, they meant like the ice tundra. Apparently now tundra means another thing besides very icy dirt. And I kind of got the impression last time I checked, I haven't really checked lately, that tundra now means that it never totally thaws. Like down at the bottom, it's still icy. I'm wondering if that is even true anymore. But the point I'm trying to get at is it seems like it's getting, a lot less frozen in Siberia. And this one by Julesy brought this one to my attention, so thank you, Julesy. It's getting pretty warm in Siberia. So she brought up a thing where it was like 100, like there's a story that it was 107 degrees Fahrenheit in Siberia at one point recently. So of course they're saying, oh, global warming. For me, it's warmed by about 75 degrees because they didn't used to have like fields, dirt, and grasses in Siberia. So I kind of looked, well, what's the average kind of normal temperature? I mean, was 104 extreme, but what is it normally? So now they're saying the northern islands along the Arctic coast can get up to 68 degrees Fahrenheit in southernmost areas, and that's kind of normal. So if you're already up to 68, 70 degrees F, which is 20 degrees C for non-Americans. If it gets that hot, then normally it wouldn't be so freaky if it got like really hot. Okay, what else is the blah, blah? I'm trying to read the rest of this here. The highest recorded temperature in Verkhoyansk is 38 degrees C, which is 100 degrees F. So there we go. 104 is not that much more than 100. Reading the rest of these real quick here. The coldest month was -53, which is -63. Summer is mild during the day with cold nights. Mild. I just can't imagine like Siberia. Oh, it's mild. However, there may be short warm periods. On the hottest day of the year, the temperature typically reaches 86 degrees F, which is 30 degrees C, in Oya-Mayakan, Siberia. The highest recorded temperature was 94.3 F. Okay, so getting the 104 isn't that weird if, let's see, if 86 is average. The temperature can drop below freezing even in summer. So it kind of seems like their summer is like my winter here in SoCal, Southern California. Which, so you could just, you know, go down to Siberia in the summer and it's quite pleasant. It just kind of freaking me out. I don't know. So I'm assuming that way up here by the Arctic's going to be colder. Let me just check and see what they're going to come up with. In the summer, average temp 47.3 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 8.5 C. The summer temperature is low but above freezing, make it an example of subarctic climate. Subarctic climate. Not sure if I've even heard that term before. Subarctic climate. I mean, it sounds very kosher. Okay, so the too long didn't read version of this is it's pretty balmy in summer in Siberia for most of it. In my timeline we had black and brown squirrels. Then came gray ones, and now this colorful one. So what did we have here? We just had I don't think I've ever seen anything besides a reddish squirrel, frankly. I'm trying to think if I ever saw a grayish one. Maybe. Definitely nothing other than reddish and grayish ones. Tundra is supposed to be permafrost. It thaws, it's bog. Tundra is moss-based. That just wasn't the terminology before. Permafrost, yes. But it didn't thaw because it was permanently frosted. It was permafrost. So there was no thawing. It was permafrost. Tundra is moss-based. I've just never... It was permafrost. The frozen tundra. That's what it was. Otherwise, it'd just be turf or bog, frozen bog. I don't know. That's just my timeline. I'm not saying it was how it is now, but that's how it was for me. The tundra was permafrost. I don't remember black squirrels. Yeah, so, I mean, black squirrels from Canada. I can't swear there weren't black squirrels in Canada, but if they show up here, I'm going to complain. There's white ones here now, like snow whites, and black ones in Canada. Huh. Yeah. Well, we've got some weird stuff here too now, like those weird weasels that we never had. Oh, you know what? I took some video. I forgot to. So I had on before those weird like salamanders that look like worms with like vestigial feet. And one of those suckers showed up at the house. So now they feel very legit. What did they call those? I think they were salamander worms or something. Worms. I'll try that. There, it's creepy because they have this little feet and they move so... they just move so energetically. Yes, I think there it is. No, that's not it. Yes, these. Oh my gosh. Okay, this image here is pretty close to what we got. Although our guy was a little bit more worm colored. He was kind of pinkish brown. Salvador worm salamander, yes. They just, they're so weird. Okay, maybe this one's a bigger image here. These things are crazy nuts. I've had them on before, but now that I saw it again, I have to have it on again. Look at these little tiny feet. So how it was about that long, and this is pretty close to the color. I would say it was still a little more pinkish. And it was up in the moist soil by our oak tree. So one of the oak trees has a problem. It had been dropping branches. This is a young oak tree. It hasn't developed that much. It's been dropping branches, and we went up there and we found that was rotted out. And the reason we think it's rotted out is because it actually grew up along the fence line and then grew into the fence. So as it's growing, I think it's being cut by the fence, like the cambium is being cut. And I don't know, somehow it managed to get the cambium around to all these branches, but rot has been able to enter at the base. And so even though all the branches looked good, like green and healthy, they've been just breaking. And we found this guy up in there while we were trying to cut down that tree. So we've cut down like half of it. And this guy was in there. So I don't know if he was in there eating like rotted wood or what. I kind of forgot what these things are supposed to eat. This is Nicaragua one. So we have them in California, and I have spotted them. Facts about salamanders. Salamander worm. That's what I want to see. So I just relocated him over to like another area that was nearby. Hopefully there'll still be plenty of food. This one's really long. I don't think ours had this long a tail. All right, let's just go to Project Noah. It should say what they eat. Hopefully it's insects and not rotted wood, because I didn't want to leave him there in the rotted wood area because we're going to be like stomping all over. Okay. This is interesting. I don't recall seeing any with that long a tail. So they're saying this one is endangered. But all I did was slap in the word salamander worm, and this really long tail guy showed. In fact, I have not seen any with this long a tail before. So ours, he really did look like it was kind of a worm, but then there was this feet, and they're just a little more, they move differently because they got the feet. So the feet are like really, they really got to work overtime because they're not strong. So each movement of the foot does not impart very much power. So they make up for it by really paddling those suckers. It's a salamander with, but yeah, it looked like a worm, more like a worm with feet though. But yeah, moved like a salamander. What is he going to do with those little needle legs? They were working it though. It was working those legs. So, I mean, I think in my old timeline, if you had that puny a leg, I just don't think it would have any power, but it was impressively effective for such a little tiny thing. Those legs. Not even Dijon mustard would make a salamander taste good. I don't know. Have you ever tried eating a salamander? I mean, they might taste like steak. I mean, don't give the timeline any ideas, because you might be eating crickets and salamander if you keep it up. They found hundreds of mummies and a pyramid. All right, let's check that out. Let's see, we're at 1, so I've only been yapping an hour. Good deal. Hundreds of mummies and a pyramid of an unknown queen unearthed at Saqqara 22 days ago on the 100th year anniversary of unearthing King Tut's tomb. Archaeologists discover hundreds of tombs and mummies buried in Giza. In Giza. Oh yeah, that's right. Saqqara is in Giza. I never used to hear this word Saqqara before, but you know, Giza didn't used to be surrounded by housing complexes either, so. A cache of coffins, mummies, and artifacts. You know what we're kind of missing is a really awesome new tomb. So maybe we'll find like King Tutankhamun's thing was a big deal. God, is it in 100 years? 100 years. 100 years. Since it's been 100 years since King Tut has been unearthed. That does not sound right to me because I do believe that that was unearthed in my timeline, like my age. So it'd be, you know, not 100 years, okay? I'm going to say my exact age, but I'm not 100 years old. So, and I wouldn't say that it was before I was maybe 5 because I don't think I would process the knowledge of it 4 or 5. It has to be after I was 4 or 5. But yes, I was quite young. So we're going to give a rough number of maybe 45, 50 years ago, I would say, is what I remember. Because I just remember they're saying we unearthed this new thing and it's amazing. And now it was already unearthed for 50 years, 45, 50, 55 years. Before that, it does not sound right. Okay, so I'm a little suspicious. Yeah, but we are overdue, I think, especially with the current timeline loves to do bigger, better, more amazing, and awesome. I think we are due for some kind of awesome gold chariots unearthed, giant, awesome baubles. Archaeologists also focused their attention on a nearby pyramid, which was belonged to Teti. I never heard of a Teti pyramid. 20 miles south of Cairo is Saqqara. Coffins, mummies. Teti was worshipped as a god in the New Kingdom period. Never heard of Teti as a god. And so people wanted to be buried near him. The first king of the 6th dynasty of Egypt, okay, was worshipped as a god. I thought they were all supposed to be, pharaohs were all supposed to be incarnations of God, of like one of the gods or something, a godly incarnation. So why would Teti be different? That sounds a little strange. Now we have found 22 interconnected shafts ranging from 30 to 60 feet, all with New Kingdom burials, also known as the Egyptian Empire, the New Kingdom period, blah, blah, blah. Found a huge limestone sarcophagus along with 30 beautiful coffins from the New Kingdom era. The coffins have individual faces, each one unique, decorated with scenes from the Book of the Dead. Each coffin has the name of the deceased and often shows the 4 sons of Horus. Egyptologist Zahi, used to be Zawahi, now Zahi Hawass, and one of the mummies discovered at Saqqara. All right, let's open this image and take a peek here. Huh. Interesting. So what's all this debris doing here? Wood bits. Something's been burnt here. And then they got this nice head. I don't know really what to think about it. Something kind of bugs me about this, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe there's wood pieces. Is that what's bugging me? Pieces of wood, maybe what's bugging me. Have we ever seen like chunks of scrap wood? It looks like modern scrap wood too. on an Egyptian burial, usually it's stone. Yeah, I think that might be what's bugging me. It's pieces of wood debris, old and burnt. So I don't know what the story is going to come out on these, but looks a little strange. Shows mummification reached its peak in the New Kingdom. Along with the mummies, there were games, shabtis, which are small figurines, of the god Ptah Sokar. Never heard of that one. And even a metal axe found in the hand of an army soldier. Found a pyramid commemorating a queen whose identity was previously unknown. So one of the things they used to say about Tutankhamun was that he was a much lesser king and he died young, and he probably had like a tiny treasure. So I would kind of expect to find more good stuff than just some small figurines and a axe in there. But who knows? There's a lot more shafts and stuff that they're probably going to claim to unearth down the line. So it should be interesting. Sakura is new for Shari also. Saw a video of immigrants barbecuing rats on the street in New York. Yeah, I don't know. You know, how much of media and story can we even trust anymore? So much of it is faked. They're caught getting faked. It's easier to just like fake news than to find it. They love the shocking stuff. Of course, if all of reality is fake, it was all always fake anyway. I don't know. I don't know what to think about stuff anymore. So rat, I mean, I'm sure it's not going to taste any different than a lot of other meats. Probably. There's like 2 molecules of meat on a rat, though, so why bother? The other thing I don't understand about this concept, okay, they were found barbecuing rats in New York. Like I said, there's 2 molecules of meat on a rat. They're hard to catch and they're pretty mean. You also risk eating rat poison because everybody poisons rats a lot. But frankly, the real thing that gets me is that having worked with the homeless and handed out food, what we find is that there is reasonably good food supply in the big cities, and just from like handouts and stuff. This is America. People, no matter how bad it's gotten thus far, we still have a country where people have 50 cents and will give it to somebody with their hand out. Or $1. And they've done research on about how much these people can earn by asking for handouts. And it's plenty enough to buy a Big Mac and fries and some salami at the store and like that. So, and then we have, places that give out food to the homeless for free. It's not like in some countries, like starving people are truly starving. Like they're wasting away skin and bones and dying on the regular from complete lack of food. That does not happen here. If you have enough mental capacity and health to stick out your hand and ask for money, you'll get enough to eat. And so when I worked with homeless and I was, we would prepare meals and hand them out and stuff. It was not uncommon for people on the street to say, well, what do you got? And if they didn't like it, like they don't like spaghetti, then no thanks. I'm good. It was really quite common for that to happen. If we didn't cook good stuff, especially, there'd be like spaghetti was not a big favorite. I get a lot of no's on spaghetti. A really good sandwich, it keeps for a while. They'd like take that one because they could eat it tomorrow. So these stories where homeless are forced to grill rats on the street, I am very skeptical of that from what I have seen. Jennifer Silva, some people make hundreds a day from panhandling. I think some of the more mobile people, like they've been caught, they have a car, they would drive, then they would dress scungy and go to like good spots. And they worked their game. They knew how to do it. Some people can make more than you'd make minimum wage, that's for sure. So then there's other homeless people that have mental illness. They're not sitting on the good corner. They don't know how to work it. They're not going to make as much money, but I think that you can make enough to get a Big Mac and fries. And like I said, there are advocates that go around and do help. I just don't see it likely that a lot of people who are savvy enough to catch a rat, because those things don't lay around and let you grab them, okay? You can catch a rat without getting bitten up. I just see that those people would also have the ability to just go and get some money by asking. The people that I would be concerned for are people who have an illness, are not able to get out there and ask for money, that kind of thing. And, it's effing cold in the winter, so there probably are deaths from cold in New York. When homeless people in the U.S. starve, it's mental issue. Yeah, or like meth, where you just don't care about eating anymore because it's taken over your brain. Someone doesn't like spaghetti. Yeah, I I don't know. It just, we had to cook good food. If it wasn't good stuff, they're like, no thanks. Not all of them, certainly. And I'll say that the illegal immigrants over from Mexico were not whiny. Free food is free food. They would take it. But the rats in LA have bubonic plague. I've heard the rats in New York are big, but still, that just makes them a lot more dangerous to catch. We do a lot of homeless outreach here. Anyone who can catch or trap a rat already ate something somebody gave them. Yeah. That's why I'm really suspicious if that might be like a setup video. It's just so common now, the clickbait, and there's really not a lot of ethics in any of the media, especially since the internet got huge and kind of stole a lot of the thunder away from regular news. They've had to get slimy and scuzzy just like an average YouTuber, really. They get caught. Used to be if they got caught doing something like faking news, it would be a huge scandal. Now people barely bat an eye. And the other news isn't even covering it because they do the same thing. All right, so where are we here? So anyway, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a Republican to just trust the news. I don't trust the Republican news either. I don't think that Fox News is any more trustworthy than CNN, for instance. They just cover different stories and they cater to a different client base. The producers, oh yeah, bum fights, that's right. The producers made big bank in instigating homeless fights. Yeah, and that was just the beginning of it. I think it's far worse now. The homeless problem is a problem and it is an ethical dilemma. Yes, but I don't trust those having to eat rat stories. If this was India, I would believe it, because in India, people starve to death. Like, they literally do not and cannot obtain food. It's a different situation there. And I don't mean to pick on India. There's a lot of other countries. I'm sure I am a little bit familiar with India because I know people who travel there, is all. And I can't speak for the other countries. That's the only reason I'm picking India. And it's pretty big, so, I'm more likely to know somebody there. All right, so what am I talking about? Freshwater sharks. Oh, yes, this one's an interesting one. Okay. This one comes from Christine Pendleton. And she was just kind of joking when she commented on the channel. And we were talking about freshwater jellyfish, I think, the other day. And she was commenting and she goes, well, what next? Sharks? And I'm thinking, So I checked it. And guess what? We do have freshwater sharks, and I am not at all happy. And they even look like sharks. They look like them scary things like in the movies. Okay, so what is it called? It's called river shark, I think, is all I have to type in. So a lot of these things, they'll call it like maybe shark. It doesn't even look like a shark. Now this guy, if you saw this, you probably thought you smoked something you shouldn't have if it's in the river. River shark, here it is. Like we didn't have enough problems with these new species. We get to have sharks. All right, it's called, I've actually kind of looked for this before, so I'm really quite positive this is a Mandela, because for a while, the only freshwater sharks were these bull sharks, which they said were tolerant of coming inland up the rivers from the ocean, and they could tolerate for a certain amount of time the less salty area, but you wouldn't see them like way inland. And then they said, well, they're not that mean. And but now we have a tried and true river shark. They live in rivers or coastal regions in and around Southeast Asia and parts of Australia. Contains only 3 extant species. So there's 3 species already. Further species could easily remain undiscovered due to their secretive habits. Okay, so there's your excuse for never seeing them before. They're secretive. Was thought to contain 5 species, but recent studies on molecular data revealed that the species has an irregular distribution in the Indo-West Pacific. So here they are, little stinkers. They look like stuff of nightmares. If you saw that in the river, you would be thinking, wait, one cotton picking moment here. This is not right. So they're all species of glyphis, Glyphis. The precise geographic range is uncertain. So that's Mandela speak for coming to a river near you. But known species are documented in South Asia, Southeast Asia, New Guinea, and Australia. The Ganges shark is restricted to fresh water, while the northern river shark and the spear-toothed shark are found in coastal marine waters as well. While the bull shark is sometimes called both the river shark and the Ganges shark, it should not be confused with river sharks of the genus Glyphis. Bull sharks evolved to have their offspring in fresh water, therefore making them safe to roam the water, while other sharks are also able to survive in salt water. Wait, that seems like a change in the bull shark story, too. Evolved to have their offspring in fresh water. I don't recall that being part of the bull shark story. I just remember them being tolerant to fresh water. River sharks remain very poorly known to science. Of course, they are critically endangered. It's Mandela speak for you're going to get more of them. People know very little about their population and life history due to being secretive, which is Mandela speak for this is an excuse for why you've never heard of them. One of the primary threats to river sharks is habitat degradation. Of course, it's your fault, you dirty, filthy carbon monster. Human development, pollution, and fishing. The river shark is known to be one of the rarest sharks in the world. That's Mandela speak for they just showed up on the scene recently. They have been found in 9 different tidal areas, which consist of muddy waters with low salinity. 9 areas. That's Mandela speak for they are growing rapidly. This is fun for me. I hope you're enjoying it. Their placement in connection to coastal marine waters indicates they're usually born around October. That one seems like it's coming out of left field. Their placement in connection to coastal marine waters indicates they are usually born around October. I don't get that one at all. That one is strange. Okay, so I think this bull shark was called the river shark, but they're actually not the river shark. There's another river shark. I think that's another attempt at Mandela's subterfuge. There was only bull sharks as river sharks last I looked. I've looked for this before because sharks are just so iconic. So I'm quite positive it's a Mandela for me. I've looked up, in fact, river shark. I'm almost positive I've looked up river shark. Baby sharks are better than steak. Really? I don't think I've ever had those before. Well, there's enough of them anymore. I'm kind of wondering now that the minute they start to say something's endangered and we have to protect it, the actual reality is we're getting more and more of them. I'm really starting to feel like that because what was it around the 90s when they started saying, don't be mean to the sharks. We need to protect them, blah, 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 blah. And now we have just buttloads of them. They evolved to have babies in the freshwater. Okay. Yes, Trolley, you are on my timeline for this week. Timeline neighborhood, shall we say. Here, if you injure yourself in water, everybody will run out of the water because sharks will appear very quickly. Oh, that makes sense because of the blood in the water, huh? Yes, yes. So absolutely no getting cut on a piece of coral or you ruin it for everybody. Oh my God, I feel bad. Used to go fishing for baby blue makos out of Oceanside Harbor way out in the 409 Shark Reef when I was a kid. Peanut butter fish. Oh, okay, you lost me there. Shark fin soup is an Asian specialty soup for health and longevity. Yeah, I know. I mean that was kind of the start of the don't be mean to the sharks thing. So, historically we usually they would say, well, they're just catching these sharks, cutting off the fins and throwing them back. But, historically, usually when you go through that much work, they would usually use that meat for something, even if it was just like dog food or something, why waste it? So I kind of looking back, kind of wonder about that storyline back then. I mean, you could use it for chum, you could use it for fertilizer. I mean, there's so many things you could use it for if it's good meat. You could feed it to other animals, as a feedstock. Just seems weird that and I kind of wonder if that was ever a legit story now that they did that, because they never had any video of them just cutting off the fins and throwing back the finless sharks. It might have been some of the early baloney of the news. So, the other advantage of this baloney news is that now stuff that we were taught, they can say, oh, well, turned out it was just a giant lie by the media. So it also covers for a lot of Mandelas, I think. Like the lemmings, they for decades said lemmings would follow themselves off a cliff. And then suddenly, that was... decades later, we suddenly figured out that was always fake. I'm like, it took you decades to realize that was faked news. Yeah, very suspicious. Okay, so where are we? River sharks, not good news, Mandela, for Eva. Okay, and then what other one? There was another shark one. Summer temps. Oh, okay. Got lots of fish stories for this day. All right. Cookie cutter sharks. This one is from Mark Tyus. Good find. Cookie cutter sharks. Cookie cutter sharks have upped their game. So Mandela, for many of us to start with, these cookie cutter sharks, they cut like holes out of fish, larger marlins, whales. They just take bites. This is creepy. It's like, it doesn't eat you, it just takes a big chunk out of you and swims off like a giant cookie cutter. All right, did not have those in my original timeline for starters. So they're finding like whales with like just circle chunks missing in the current timeline, and it's from these cookie cutter sharks. Well, they've changed a lot for me since last time I looked at the little beasties, and it has been a number of years. So first of all, thanks to Mark Tyus bringing it to my attention, they now also like to eat other stuff besides meat. Now, what was it last week? There was it something, catfish eat wood, like chunks of wood, logs. Okay, now we've got cookie cutter sharks like to eat cables and submarines and whatever. Not just tunas and dolphins and whales, they will damage equipment. Okay, later. This is kind of the history of the suckers. Darn it, where's the part where it says that? That reputation was enhanced in 1978. Yeah, they didn't even exist back then for me, when C. Scott Johnson published a paper entitled Sea Creatures and the Problem of Equipment Damage. This probe is... Okay, and the rubber was being mysteriously damaged on this connecting equipment. Johnson discovered that the deep gouges in the rubber were due to cookie cutter sharks. So they were eating rubber, which apparently saw nuclear submarines and figured they would make a very good meal. But don't worry about it too much. Only one person, a long-distance swimmer, has ever been attacked by a cookie cutter shark. Okay, I've not heard of anybody until now, so still not liking the storyline or where it's going. It came after him twice in 15 seconds and gave him a nasty deep bite on his calf, but he survived. These things are only really dangerous if you're a submarine. Ha ha ha. All right, so apparently they like rubber and stuff like that now. All right, I'm going to read this Business Insider one, even though I haven't really checked it out in advance to see if there's anything extra in there. This cat-sized shark. Now, kind of check out that image, because that's just not how I remember them being shaped when I first saw them. It really looks more like a tuna-shaped thing. I remember them looking more shark-like, except for the mouth. And then I remember the mouth being a little bit more like that eel thing with the kind of like teeth all the way around like that. Like an actual sucker thing. And they've changed a lot from what I remember them some years ago. The fish's strange bite can get at the softer area of the submarines. They attacked exposed soft areas, including electrical cables and rubber sonar domes. In several cases, the attacks effectively blinded the subs, forcing them back to base for repairs. They later returned fitted with fiberglass coverings. The attacks happened in the 1970s. In several cases, the sharks did enough damage to the vessel's sonar equipment that the oils inside that transmit sound would leak out of the ship and break the equipment. The subs could no longer see what was around them. So they're saying these things will bite just about anything, even research equipment in the ocean. There's the bites. So this is interesting. These bites just, I don't know, they look a little deeper than I remember. All right, I'm going to check images. All right, so this is the mouth now, and this is just not really, darn, I think that image is too small. Maybe this one. That looks a little better. This is the mouth now, and it's just not the mouth I remember. First, these bottom teeth seem to go on forever. And they're not separate teeth now. There's like this plate with the teeth. I mean, really, it looks like I took a piece of plastic and I cut zigzaggies in it and then shoved it into the fish's mouth or the shark's mouth. This does not look anything like I remember the bottom teeth. And then these top teeth are just like tiny now. So I kind of fail to see, you know, the old mouth looked like a round gape that would chunk out like a round circle. This mouth is just not anything I've seen before. Not like that. It looks fake. But now all the images have that look. It's mostly in the bottom. What's going on the top? There's hardly any teeth there. The holes also don't look, they used to look like really good round holes that are chunked into something, and now they don't. So these guys are definitely altering. Let's see. All right, so this is what they look like now. More ridiculous, basically. All right, I screwed that one up. Let's try this. Here we go. They look more dorky. I don't remember this big a nose and then this, like he looks like he has a weak chin or something. I don't know. It's just different. This big goofy eye. It looks ridiculous now. They actually looked a little more scary before. Now they look like a Muppet or something. They look fake. It looks like it's an early version animatronic. the lips, they didn't have this weird lip thing here. It looks like it has a bottom lip now. It's growing a top lip. The shape, that one's too small. The shape is, they're way more skinny now. Dang, that one's too small too. They look like torpedoes now, actually, come to think of it. This is a good one. Open a new tab. Here. So, well, it even got some weird white. It looks like a torpedo now, doesn't it? Doesn't look like a shark. I mean, is that even real, that image? It's just like, I don't know. That they almost look, besides the name, they really don't look much at all like I remember them. All right, those are the glow-in-the-dark sharks. I think we've covered glow-in-the-dark sharks already. You know, there's not that many images of these things. Maybe because of all that other junk I have on it. Let's take that out. Oop, I think I still need the word shark. This is not right. I'm sorry. It looks fake. I swear. The more I look at him, the more I feel like it does not look right. All right, granted that's a dried one, but I think those teeth are supposed to be real, and that is just not right. That doesn't look right. Now they look like dorks. They used to look scary, but they look like dorks now. I still don't want to get chunked by one, but this looks nasty. Somehow the fact that they actually just look stupid now makes it even worse. They're like jolly cookie cutter torpedo fish. All right, that hole, I'm trying to look at the holes. That one looks pretty circular, but a lot of them are not looking circular. A lot of the bite marks aren't anymore. And they used to look really circular. So the mouth is, okay, here is the jaw. This is interesting. Okay, so, so maybe those are separate teeth, like some kind of an overlap system. I'm not sure. Or does the whole plate come out at once? I'm going to have to check into that when I get time. And here's the top now. This little scungy, gooby mixed teeth, that wasn't like that before. So yeah, they've changed a lot. Anyway, yes, I'm dragging on and on, but yes, the short version, they are different. I keep hearing about freshwater sharks now. That's a crisp new mandanimal for me. Definitely for me. Yeah, so I don't know about everywhere, but here, if homeless are on the street and they can't take care of themselves, other homeless do try to help them and try to convince them to, go on the ambulance or something. And I have heard stories where they just said, no, I don't want to go that route. And I guess they just want to die in the street. And as a libertarian, I do feel that they have that right. It's your choice in the end. Or should have that right. I'm good with them having that right. I'm not even swimming in a pool anymore. Remember that horror movie where the sharks come in the swimming pool? No, I don't remember that one. But, they've got alligators and stuff now, at least on the certain areas of the country. Yeah, I wonder, like, it tastes, if baby sharks taste so good, why would they ever just cut the fin off and pitch it back? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Let's go down here. A happy shark. Yeah, he's happy as he takes a bite out of you. Looks like it does. You're right. It does look like the worm in Dune. It's just missing like a little bit. Like a little bit of the top mouth there. Kids always wanted to find shark teeth. Yeah. Okay, so what we got now? Freshwater sharks. We got, all right. Slightly less scary, and we have had these before on, but Jay Emblin brought them up again. Vaquitas in Baja. What's a vaquita? If you remember, Vaquita Baja. The reason I'm putting them on again is because, okay, so these super tiny, goofy looking whale thingies, real puny. I've had them on before. I don't remember any whales that tiny, but they look different than I recall last time I had them on. So I'm going to have them on again. And you guys, if you remember, quit that. I'm having a little bit of a problem here. All right, now we got the scroll. Should be big enough. Okay, these are vaquitas. Endangered. Only like, I don't know what they said, some kind of puny number of them. Only exist in Baja, California area. That's not in California. We've discussed that. Baja, California. That's not in California. area. If you remember seeing them on here before, what looks different now with these vaquitas to you? Or do they look the same? I guess I'm kind of indicating that for sure for me they look different. Open a new tab. Okay, there's a close-up of it. A little closer than I had planned. For some reason, I can't shrink that one. I think that's too small. I'm not sure if that's even... I'm not even sure if that's really a photo or not. Okay. Okay, you can see how tiny they are. I believe that's a full-grown one there, and there's somebody's hand. So these are tiny guys. They're like the size of a dog. Open image, a new tab. All right, here's the region. I believe these are considered the smallest in the world. Donde viva la vaquita? Where does the vaquita live? So I'm guessing it's just right here. So California is here, this blue area. Baja California, which is not in California. It is in Mexico. And Sonora, which is in Mexico. And this is that weird peninsula thing that's been growing and growing and growing and growing. And so they're right there at the base of that. A territory that did not used to exist because this peninsula was not so long. We now have a Mandanimal that, in my opinion, has changed a fair amount. Here's another image of them. Oh, that's not the one we wanted. Is it? Oh, maybe it's just big. Okay. There's another image of them. Pretty sure these are them too, I think. Cadaver de una vaquita marina, so a body of a saltwater vaquita. Vaquita. So a vaquita would be a small vaca. Vaca. I'm not sure what a vaca is though. All right, so there they are again. It's just goofy looking things. So wrong, so wrong. The newer whales are some crazy stuff. All right, so I'm assuming that's a dead one. He's got some injury up there. Gosh, they're shiny too. I'm gonna pull my card right now and say I don't remember him being that shiny. This one looks dry and everything, yet its skin is still shiny, very shiny. So this must be very smooth skinned to be that shiny. Woo, look at this one. All right, this is gonna be my final image. I'm pretty sure that's a real image. Dang, you can't tell anymore, can you? I mean, that could be a fake image. All right, I'm not gonna do that one as my final image. I'm not sure if that's a legit image or not. Pretty sure this is legit image. Okay. Never heard of the animal. I should actually just get some info on it real quick in case it changed. Wikipedia. The official spokesman of the current reality is Wikipedia. Okay. Oh, it's Species of porpoise. Okay, sorry, it wasn't a whale, it was a porpoise. I think it's the world's smallest porpoise. In the northern end of Gulf of California, the smallest of all living cetaceans. I believe that is the same as before. Currently listed as critically endangered. The steep decline in abundance primarily due to bycatch and gillness and the illegal totoaba fishery. What the heck's a totoaba? The totoaba is a species of marine fish, very large, member of the drum family that is endemic to the Gulf of California and Mexico. So another fish I never heard of in a part of the ocean that didn't used to exist in the Gulf of California, which is not in California. It's the only species in the genus Totoaba, formerly abundant. Formerly abundant, Mandela speak for brand new and going to grow. Subject to intensive fishery. In other words, it's all your fault. The Totoaba has become rare and is listed on CITES. In other words, it is new and will come off of CITES in the coming years. That is my prediction anyway. Vaquita was defined as a species in 1958. The genus comprises 4 species of porpoise. Porpoise. They live in shallow, turbid waters of less than 150 meters, 490 feet. Vaquitas inhabit murky, warm waters 60 miles of the shoreline since there is a high food availability and a strong tidal mix. Since they are able to survive in shallow waters, their triangle-shaped dorsal fin sticks out above water and they are commonly mistaken for dolphins. Population status. Because the Vaquita was only fully described in the late 1980s, historical abundance is unknown. Since 1983, all confirmed specimens, records, and sightings of P. sinus were evaluated. The first comprehensive Vaquita survey throughout the range took place in 1997 and estimated a population of 567 individuals. By 2007, abundance was estimated to have dropped to 150. The population abundance as of 2018 was estimated at less than 19 individuals. Okay, when I was checking the other day, it said 20. So we're down to 19 now. Given the continued rate of bycatch and low reproductive output from a small population, it's estimated that there are fewer than 10 vaquitas alive as of February 2022. All right, I'm going to make a prediction that we will not have an extinction of vaquitas. Absolutely worst case scenario, they will genetically engineer them back to life or something, but I don't think they're going to be gone. They just showed up a couple years ago. I don't think we're going to be gone. Or they'll disappear and then 2 years later they'll find them somewhere further down the coast or something. There's going to be a story. Or they'll disappear and one that looks just like the little suckers will show up. But I don't think they're going to disappear. And one of the reasons I don't think they're going to disappear is they look different than last time. This can't be real. Okay. No, I'm sure I've had these on before at least once. It's a bad, yeah. All right. So you guys don't remember how they were on before and how they look different? I guess there's not that many people on here tonight, so. Little cows. Okay, that's right. Vaca. So the CA turns into QUI. Okay, Vaquita. All right, got it. I was thinking, what's a vaca? VAQUA, but there is no QUA in Spanish. There is an ACA, which is cow. Do they look like little cows? That's kind of a weird name. Are they gonna look like little cows? Okay, so Eva, change your chat to live chat. Okay, here we go. Better late than never. Okay, so what's different about it in case anybody out there remembers the original show? For me, they did not have like lip liner. Some of them have just like, there seems to be a lot of variation for only 20 of these suckers. Some of them look like they just have like dark lips now. This one actually looks like the lip liner shoots back along the back. That was never the case. They also have like this weird eyeliner thing too going on. There's not very many good images there. The eyes are now ringed in like this dark color. That was not the case either. And it looks like the fins are darker than the body. That wasn't the case either. So when these first showed up for me, they were just kind of like a uniform gray. They didn't have like lipstick and eyeliner and black like some kind of goth porpoise. So those are the changes for me. The main ones. Okay, so this is not a real image, but it kind of shows that look. Sometimes when you see, so it's got like clown lipstick, but it looks like there's going to be a flash for the nose. The eyes are tiny, but these are outlined, and then you can see the dark color on the fins. Those are all the changes. This thing, the dark color there. Those are all the changes I'm seeing in there. It doesn't look like they've... does not... This is interesting because it really makes it extreme. Quit that. Oh, I get it. Somehow it's gotten really tiny. Let's just do this. There we go. I don't know why it's fighting me. This is what I want to show. So there's really dark on this. So I'm thinking this is again just a drawing, but it might be a little bit of a foreshadow on how we're going to see the color with the very dark kind of parrot-like beak lip liner deal going on here. Some of the worst people are human. That's kind of funny. I don't know what you're talking about, but I just picked up that one. All right, so we got that one, Vaquita. So that was Jay Emblin noticing Vaquitas, me noticing the color changes, at least from my perspective. We got that. Fast relief, force it. All right, I only have one left. I got 8 minutes. This one I'm just gonna slap in there because we have time. I don't know if this is getting like viral. I haven't seen it, but I had 2 people jump in on the comments. Tony Boy and Bill Knight, 2, I guess, different people. I don't know. Bill can be nicknamed Tony, so I don't know, but I don't think Bill Knight has an alter ego, Tony Boy. Blue owls. Of course, they're not blue. You do have to wonder if they'll be blue eventually. Blue owls. Not super weird looking. I have never heard of them, and they hadn't either. I just think it's interesting, like 2 people suddenly saw these guys. Definitely have some like big, I guess it's eyebrows, but they look like ears. We're seeing a lot of that kind of a look with the owls in recent years. I never had that in my originally timeline where they had, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a real image. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. I mean, this is certainly not the only owl that has these eyebrow, like ear-shaped eyebrow things. Fuzz over the nose. A lot of owls are getting really strange. This is definitely not the strangest one, but I do think it's interesting that 2 people suddenly found them. just jump on the web and see if there's anything weird about them. Besides that they exist. Do they exist? Actually, that's something I didn't check. Is something going around called blue owl. I'm not actually finding a name for blue owl. Let's see. What is the scientific name of these things? I mean, if they went viral, they must have some kind of scientific name, one would think. Blue owls aren't real. Well, I'm not saying they're actually blue. Huh, maybe there's some kind of viral baloney going around and I missed it? That could be it. The blue owls of the Philippines. Okay, well maybe I got fooled by that one. Picture shows blue owl with cat-like whiskers. A picture being sent all over social media claims to show a blue owl. Okay, this might be the source of it. That's what I get for not doing my research in advance. Ah, okay. Yes. Okay, interesting. It just didn't show up on any of the... Yes, I would freak out. That's why two people have said it to me. Yes, I would freak out if that was there. Oh, interesting. Now I know why two people sent me that. Okay, so I'm sure they're going to say that this is fake. There are no blue owls. White through shades of gray, tan, brown, and reddish brown. This is not the first time a doctored picture of an owl has been spread around. Okay. I'm going to predict, though, that we're going to get something. We're going to get something if there are a whole bunch of viral images and this blue one, because frankly, that's pretty fakey looking to me. I don't know if that's the one people were looking at. See if I can make this bigger. I don't think I can. Oh, here. Yeah, if you saw that, Okay, so this is going viral. Who knows why? It's really not the most realistic looking blue owl Photoshop I've seen. I am going to predict that it is a foreshadowing of something we'll see. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be some other bird that looks similar to this but isn't technically an owl, or it'll be a little bit different coloration, or it'll have a blue beak but not blue feathers or something. But if it's going super viral enough for two people to suddenly send it, I think we're going to see something. It's kind of like that shark with just the one eye. The baby shark showed up, went super viral, and then later we started seeing more creatures with one eye, but not necessarily a shark. So I think we'll see something. But yes, I did not do my due research on that one. And that's even assuming that that's what people were talking about, because I'm kind of guessing now. Owls with depression, yeah. Well, I was kind of guessing historically they would use the word blue to describe like a deep gray, like Russian blue cats. So I was thinking it might be like that. I didn't see any realistic looking blue owls when I did it. So I'm like, they must be talking about some kind of gray owl. But, oh well. Got me there at the end. I've got like 2 minutes left, so I'm going to have to bail out of here pretty quick. The owl looks like exactly like fantasy dolls sold on Etsy. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if we got those, but I think they'll sneak up on us probably a little more slowly. Like we saw the crazy colored monkeys, but they come up with just a little of the color and then more of the color. And they don't suddenly have like neon colors all in one jump. Now, who knows how fast the Mandela speed up. I kind of feel like things have slowed down a little. I haven't seen any totally wild geography changes. They're more like sneaking bit by bit. So I kind of feel like it's not quite as insane as it has been. We have seen kind of an influx of some weird animals lately, though. We're seeing a lot more personal Mandelas. A lot of people are having weird things in their personal lives now. The live agains seem to be hitting it more. So maybe we're just kind of shifting a little bit in the type of Mandelas. And so we're seeing less of some Mandelas, but maybe more of other or paranormal or just weird stuff that might not be necessarily considered Mandelas. Maybe that's the route we're going. So something to think about anyway. It just kind of the vibe I've been getting lately is that we're seeing a different, more activity in a different area now. All right. Anyways, thank you so much. Like I said, it's all been you guys, this show. All of the Mandelas came from you. So you made it very easy on me to have a good show since you guys did most of the work. So thank you very much. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.